matters? Do resumes matter? Do storylines matter? Guys, let me back you up to a little time called yesterday. I did a poll. I came out and I asked you guys, and I said, you know what? Let's find Suga's next opponent. Let's narrow it down to the likely suspects, which of course is Aljo, which of course is Merab, which of course would be Cejudo. He threw himself in there, and of course would be Cheeto. So let's just take a look at those four. I didn't choose to eliminate Sandhagen. By the way, I read your comments. Allegedly, Sandhagen went under the knife and he had a hand surgery. So that's why we're at these four. But what I asked you to do is tell me between those four, not who's going to get the fight, who can we eliminate? Give you the players again. Aljo, his teammate Merab, the old rival Cheeto Vera, and of course Henry Cejudo. Who knows how to get under somebody else's skin, but I'm just sharing with you. Instead of saying who's going to get the fight, let's eliminate one of them. This was the task. You guys did. You overwhelmingly, by a factor, by the way, of 54%, say that you want Cheeto Vera to have the fight. Number two was actually Merab, much further down. Merab beat out Aljo by over 10%. Merab comes in at 24%. Aljo comes in at 14%. By the way, Henry's down there at 10%. Now, I'm not sharing with you that this is scientific. I asked you guys. I'm asking you guys what you want to see. So if we go by that math, we remove Henry. Now, guess what? Henry expected to be removed. I mean, just, like, history matters. Can we all agree on that? Henry was given a world title opportunity. Henry lost, which means Henry lost his last fight. It's very rare that you would return to a title fight if it wasn't against the same opponent, right? I don't think that there's more than 2 or 3 times that you could ever tell me where somebody fought for a title and their next fight was also for a title if it wasn't against the same opponent. Man, it was a rematch. So I think that we knew that Henry was likely to be eliminated, but Henry's still doing everything right, which is throwing his name out there, getting responses, staying active, letting the world know I have not taken my eye off my one and only goal, which really is the only thing Henry knows is gold medals. Henry really doesn't know anything else. Whether it was the state championship, the junior national championship, the U.S. Open championship, the Olympic Games, like he really only knows championships, and he's letting you know that that hasn't changed. I fully support what Henry's doing, but I wasn't stunned to see that under the criteria I gave you, which is 4 names, we're gonna eliminate one, that Henry dropped. Fine. We got Aljo. We got Merab. We got Cheeto. And if you combine Aljo and Merab's percentages together, you don't have what Cheeto had. It was 54% for Cheeto. Over half of you want to see Cheeto. And I just want to kind of take a look at that to see if there's anything that we can gain. There's mistakes all the time when you have data and then you have a scientist look at it and they misinterpret. I don't deny that. But do we have something that we can gather? Like, just by example, history says Aljo gets the shot. History says when you have a record-setting champion who gets upset, oh, by the way, it does matter how you lose. If you were caught and you were put down with one shot, we call that caught. Right or wrong, no matter how unfair that is to the opponent, in this case, Sugar Sean, it's still the language that we use. I saw a number of people who did post-cap analysis on the fight, and they used that word, even if inadvertently. Oh, and then he caught him. He caught him with that sniper-like precision. He caught him as though it was lucky. But I'm just sharing for you, that is a real thing that does lend towards rematches, and it doesn't seem that that's the dialogue we're all going with. Now, you have Merab's argument. And I'm not by any means telling you that Merab's wrong, but Merab's argument is what I have done recently compared to what the people I'm competing with have done recently. I, Merab, have won 9 in a row, plus I took his coat. It's not awful. Like, I don't hate Merab's argument. I just would have predicted for you that what you've done lately does not equal a mandate of the masses. You can attempt to tell your story and you can attempt to get it out there and you can attempt to win people over. But now we're actually testing that with a focus group known as you. And we're putting 9 straight versus Cheeto. Now, why is Cheeto beating everybody? And you know what? I had somebody tell me is why I'm going in this direction. I had them tell me that people want parity. That as great as Aljo is, people want parity. They want something new. Cheeto's a rematch as well. Just to remind you, Cheeto versus Sean would be a rematch as well. So if we eliminate Henry, we have the option of 2 rematches, which don't give you parity. I don't have a problem with it. I'm just sharing with you. Don't tell me that you're looking for parity and then tell me that Cheeto's winning 54%. And then you got Merab. Done everything right. Won a whole bunch of fights, plus he took his coat. Like, I think that matters. I like that he took his coat. I thought it was a great piece of theater. I like that Sean made him give the coat back when Sean was outnumbered however many to 1. He had nobody with him. He still said, give me my coat back, sucker, and got it. I like the whole thing. But I'm bringing this to your attention. There is a compulsion within this sport when we feel that somebody has been slighted. When we, the viewer, feel that somebody has been slighted, we, the viewer, will attempt to make that right. And imagine Cheeto being put on the same card as a main event who, according to every athletic commission, aside from the Sugar State Athletic Commission, is his one and only loss. I gotta open for a guy that's got 1 loss, and by the way, it was to me. In the main event, he's getting all the questions, he's doing all the media, he's got a world title opportunity. I beat him, I'm opening the card. Nobody's wrong here. I'm just sharing with you as you start to look at the story and you start to try to figure out where your own emotion goes. It's not parity, don't say that. It's a rematch. But there is something within the sport. And there was a lot of unanswered questions there, not for nothing. And there's a power of a call out, which Sean did, and he called for Vera before and after, right? He bookended it. Sugar Sean at the press conference prior to the fight. So I'm going to beat Aljo, and if Cheeto somehow wins, I will be rematching him. And then after the fight, when it played out just that way, Cheeto had won. Sean took care of business. Sean called out Cheeto. I mean, those things are powerful and those things matter. And most over, I think the part that I would like to identify for you is not only are we not doing resumes, not only are we not doing resumes, but if we were to do resumes, it would be in reverse order. Henry Cejudo, 2-time UFC champion plus Olympic champion, first one out. Aljo, most successful 135-pounder ever. And I know there's going to be some people arguing Dominic Cruz, but you get the point, right? Like, if you're in the final 2, you're something special. Second one out. Merab, most beautiful record, at least in terms of 9-0 plus the coat. Third one out. Cheeto Vera, I have the foggiest idea, but he sure looked good lately. And a whole bunch of athletic commissioners think he already beat this guy 1 time. And a lot of people like me think it was probably strategic that he was even placed on this card against Pedro Munoz in the first place. And that he was the unannounced backup fighter. He did his part. We got to give him the match. I think that's the psychology. I think I'm close. And I think that that's very fascinating. I think it's a very important thing that we note. There's not a time in the sport that the mandate and the opinion of the masses gets beat out by your record.